Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Tech Productions. Today I back off being joined once again by Jimmy, Jake, and like always, Fluff.
I like the dramatic pause.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, it was spicy. Added a little something.
Man, the suspense was real.
And like always, there's buttons down below. Feel free to click them. They're there for a reason. Today's matchup is Videl, once again, being piloted by Jimmy. But Jake has brought out King Cole. Now, I'm not sure if Jake has actually played King Cole on the channel, but you've been recently getting into it, though.
Yeah, I've been playing it here and there, like not in tournaments, but like on Untap and like at friends' houses and stuff. And I really enjoy piloting the deck. I'm not really I'm not really certain on where King Cold's power level is, but I definitely feel like it has potential.
With that being said, guys, take it away.
So, Vidal's been on the channel in the past, the green-red variant, and this is the black-green variant that you saw in my matchup with Bancroft. So, Jake, tell us about your take on King Cold.
It's Fluff's King Cold build, except I added a couple of the new cards from Cross Spirits just to support what was kind of an already strong list. And also you see in my energy there, the 5 drops of Masus. I don't know if Fluff plays those either. But
No, I
Fluff,
I didn't run those.
yeah, I saw Fluff play King Cold and had a lot of, and it was like a really unique way to green. And I just thought it was really interesting. And like once you have experience with the deck and like really learn to manipulate the fields and things, you can generate a lot of advantage for very little energy. Like we actually had a spectator in this game who has been out of Dragon Ball for a while, and I remember at one point he looked at me. He goes, "How many cards are you gonna play for no energy?" And I kind of just looked at him. I was like, "A few."
Yeah, you were trying to get him to go away, right? Because that's what I was trying to do.
I don't know. I don't really mind spectators, and it's kind of good practice, especially for when you go to like larger events and like you can't really tell people like, "Hey, don't hover me right now," because they don't know you and don't care. Like,
Yeah. So, if you watched the previous game with Black Green Vidal on the channel, I mentioned that I had a really rocky start because of Bancroft removing my skill lists very early on. And I didn't have the best start in this matchup. Usually I like to put a Saiyan Scions out and crack that early to get my 2 skill lists from the deck and have good setup and good pressure. But I was kind of lacking on the unisons at this point, so I actually had to hardcast the Vegeta 1-drop, so I had a target for SS4 prepping for fusion to go on top of.
now I thought that was kind of like a purposeful tactic because we had played this matchup a few times. Like I remember once at your house, I think, and then a couple times online. And I felt like usually when you go into a Scions early like that, I tend to punish you, like here.
Mhm.
And I felt like you hardcasting that 1-drop was kind of like a way to bait out maybe like a Royal Supremacy or a Dormant Potential that I would have spent to clean up skillnesses and maybe not spend it at the best point, you know?
Mhm.
But that's interesting to hear that that was just kind of what you had to do and not necessarily a calculated gameplay.
Yeah. So with the green matchup, I know that once you have a unison established, once you have multiple energy up, I'm gonna have to worry about stuff like Topo Boo, Dormant Potentials, all of your counterplays. You have also run the King Cold in here that's like a Topo Light for attacking your leader. So I knew that it was going to be pretty much a big wall to get over in the late game. So I was really, really struggling to try to push as much damage as I possibly could at you early to make you sweat on, 3 life. That's usually a strategy I take against green matchups.
And we had played a friendly before the event actually, and you took me to 3 life in that game really early on, and I didn't really think it was a big deal, but having lost that game going into this one, I was defending my fourth life a little bit more aggressively than maybe I normally would, because King Cold is almost like Blue Baby in that you have enough negates and enough like combat effects in the deck that you can kind of decide when to stop taking damage. Unfortunately for me, I just kind of decided to take a little bit of too much damage early, I think, and aggressively defend 4 life, and my opponent's still at 5.
So I remember after or later on in this matchup, we catch it, but I don't remember exactly what field card it is. But one of your field cards buffs your Frieza army cards by 5. Is it?
Terrified Realization, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have to have 4 more fields in play.
4 more.
I
Fields.
I wasn't considering King Cold's Dynasty itself when I was calculating it during the game.
Mhm.
And then after I was like, oh, that counts. And all of like I probably would have swung with that 5-drop Frieza had I known it was a 15k last turn, you know what I mean?
Yeah. At one point we do catch it and we realize that we were doing battle calculation wrong. Which, if anything, it would just cause me to combo 1 more card from my hand.
I think Jake phrased it. I didn't proc the auto.
Yeah. Yeah. If I didn't call it, then then how are you supposed to know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, I should know what all those field cards do by now because I played this matchup with Fluff multiple times. I played this matchup with you multiple times. That maybe I just need to sit down and study these damn cards.
That's kind of how I feel. Like I play, see myself in this game, like missing a couple draws and things, and it's just all of the field cards are very similar, but subtly in what they as far as like drawing cards and costing you life.
Mhm.
So it's very easy to get them mixed up as to what each one does when it comes into play.
Mhm.
So I'm not familiar with these cards because you didn't get a chance to play them against me. Does the Goku like play cards or something?
Yes, so when he is played or activates blocker, you get to play a skill list from your drop or your warp in rest mode.
Okay, that's awesome.
So it's really solid if you have like multiple black energy up and like a 1-drop Goku, you could play the SS4 Goku, then play the Vegeta from your drop or your warp, then tap another one to go into the 30k Vegeta. Like in the first gameplay video, I called this deck, Broly, Dark Broly with Dormant Potential. So once you get into that 30k spam, it becomes really, really potent, but it does require a good bit of setup. But it's not unfeasible to see that setup.
Yeah, it's just weird seeing like a different angle of this deck because like you didn't even play Demigra against me. Like,
that was partially because I wanted to leave energy open for negates because I didn't know if your deck had like a turn that it really wanted to pop off on, and also I did not see any reason to play Demigra in a lot of times.
That's one thing I've noticed about this Videl deck is that it almost has like layers. There's the Saiyan Scions 1-drop spam pressure layer. Then there's the 30k spam layer. And then ultimately you've got that huge Thwarting the Dark Empire, which is, with the amount of attacks and the effect it's got, yeah, I kind of expected that boo to come out. But
yeah, we kept calling this the pass turn boo because it was just, hey, you got the boo in hand, okay, I'll pass turn. Like,
yeah, at one point I was like, if you have another boo, we can just skip to turn 6, and we kind of laughed about that.
I found it interesting. I was like, when I was looking at the video, I'm like, why did their match take so long? Oh, it's 2 green decks.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's enough hand control in this Videl list towards the late game that I don't know. It's just a really interesting deck, and I remember after the event, we're like, I like this deck, but say now, and I think it was me that was like, "Have you seen the black green variant?"
Mm-hmm.
And from there, you kind of just took off, and I really like what you've done with the list.
Yeah, I've been really, really enjoying this list. I've been enjoying a lot more than the red-green variant. I haven't had enough games with the blue-green variant, but I do think black-green is probably the most potent of the lists that are floating around right now.
And you tend to enjoy playing those like black control-y kind of spammy decks anyway.
That's usually my go-to. We were talking at the shop the other day for some reason about like what color do we associate each player with, and pretty much everybody said green for me.
Black, you mean?
Or black, yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a delinquent, so I don't play green. Also, I'm colorblind, so I don't know what deck I'm playing. But my matchup with Bancroft actually kind of opened my eyes to another way of playing this deck. Usually, I tend to like rush the Awaken, and get on the backside so I can get the power boost from the Unisons. And if I do decide to Spirit Boost, I get the extra 5k. But my matchup with Bancroft, since I waited so long to actually Awaken, I was like, man, being able to drop a Thwarting, then untap energy, and then set on top of the Thwarting blocker plus like whatever defensive card be it Dormant or the Topo Boo. I feel like that's the best way to play this deck.
Yeah.
And it really worked out for me pretty much all night playing it in this style. It felt a lot more comfortable playing it like that.
Yeah, it's really just kind of shows the different ways you can pilot the same 52 53 cards just in different configurations and lines of play. Just lets you almost like Sun Gohan or like any other blue yellow strategy where you can kind of modulate when your aggression happens early or late depending on how the game's going.
So if I remember correctly here, you were debating on first what to swing into and what to swing with, I believe.
Yeah, I was trying to get another field pop and play, I think, with Berry Blue. Fluff really turned me on to that card. I wasn't super high on it. And then he explained like the way you can kind of abuse the fields like I've been doing with this list. See, here with this Frieza, I'm going to get two cards in the drop area, which kind of gets around the not being able to KO the big boss monsters have nowadays. And then Anticipated Onslaught, since a different field left the field, is going to let me remove your 2-drop Boo. I don't know if we do that. Yeah, and I get to pick a card from your hand. So this is huge here, getting to rip the negate. If only I wasn't under the effect of that Boo. Looks like I don't.
Jake, you just...
Did I cut out?
Yeah, you cut out.
No, don't worry about it. Let's just move on. Topo Boo ended my turn. Frieza removed Thwarting, and this game.
I mean, removing Thwarting is pretty nice, though.
Yeah, that was pretty huge. Because if I remember correctly, I think I was debating on playing another Thwarting this turn and setting up that dual Thwarting that I had in my matchup with Bancroft. Another thing that I really like about Demigra in this list is that you can give Demigra the power boost, swing with Videl, and then give Videl that full power off of Demigra, making her a 25k.
I mean, it doesn't matter, like, no specified cost. Oh, like, Gohan's or Great Saiyaman's one as well. I forgot about that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So it's really interesting the way that Demigra just keeps being relevant, despite being kind of an aged 1-drop Unison.
Yeah, and like if you read the card, it's so basic, but it's just so potent. Like it's just good in everything that it does. That we talked in the past about how green really doesn't have a bad Unison. Like every Unison in green like does something in some deck.
Pretty much heat.
Yeah. So notice like a lot of other colors don't have very, very many good Unisons.
And I think the strength in green's Unisons is just like how generically good they are. Like we saw in Boo list recently, how he uses the Vegito unison that's supposed to be for Gotenks, using the Union Absorbs in his list to draw cards off of that is just huge. Like,
Just
Green's
insane.
unisons are just like very well designed, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Hmm. So going into this turn, I think this is a pretty big turn for you. What were you thinking going into this? If I remember this turn correctly.
I kind of counted on my 5-drop Frieza not surviving your turn. I was hoping you wouldn't dormant here because I really needed multiple swings at your leader to try and get at your life. Even though you've got a pretty decent hand size, I felt confident that I would be able to kill you just because your leader is so small on the front and backside, generically.
Not to interrupt, but 2 things here. I did forget to warp a card for Paragus. I do catch that, and also I forgot to pop Berry Blue with Dormant Potential.
Which is huge, actually, because I'm able to abuse her to continue to get advantage off this same copy of a new ruler over and over and over again.
Yeah, I chalk that up to our audience member. Shout out to the homie. I'm just talking shit, but completely forgot that Frieza was a auto on play. I thought it was like a auto on swing. So I was like, oh yeah, get that boy out of there. And you're like, oh, well, I'm still doing it. And I'm like, you can't, bro. You can't swing with it. It's dead.
I'm like, I don't have to. It's on the play.
I can't remember. Is it every card, right?
Yeah, it doesn't ignore barrier, but it's a pretty good board wipe for 3 energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very good. But I still decided to counterplay that just because I didn't want you having that double striker on build. Or is he?
It goes to 20k, right?
Yeah, it gets plus 16. I think I'm supposed to pop a field here, but I would have just put it back with Barry and all my energy anyway, so I don't think it changes too much. Especially since we're not adding battle power for Terrified Realization.
Yeah, I think I'd chalk that up to distractions going on in the shop, because there was actually a couple ruling calls that I had to answer at this point as well. And I believe I do catch the Paragus warp before I charge here, if I remember correctly.
It'd be average, but you do say, I never warped a card for Paragus.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like right here.
Yeah, I think it's when I don't know when I did, but I remember I caught it.
I remember specifically you doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, you caught it eventually, right?
Yeah. I mean, I did perform a lot of actions here.
Yeah, you did.
I don't think it's too much.
Yeah, and there I used that Goku as the the Xeno Evolve target, and then I just played back out another Goku, so that's why I just left him on field.
Yeah. Played one to play one in rest mode, Xeno Evolve that one to play it back out. Pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a really good setup.
So, Jake, tapping out with no unisons, I'm guessing you didn't have a dormant in hand.
No. I was just digging for combo power. I could also activate Royal Supremacy with having all my energy tapped as long as I've got fields in play. So I was hoping to hit a copy of that as well. Off of these new ruler procs.
So there I activated Sword Dance of the Demon God, which was fantastic in this matchup. If you don't know what the activate main does, is that you can tap 1, spirit boost 1, it's also a limit 1. You just choose one of your opponent's battle cards 4 or less and send it to the warp, then remove Sword Dance from the game. So I wanted that combo power off field. I would have been able to get rid of it with Dormant earlier on, but I missed the timing on there, so I had to burn Sword Dance. But Sword Dance is a fantastic card for stuff like that.
Yeah, and here I'm just trying to get out of this big 30k swing. Or it might be the Demegra swing, I'm not sure.
If I remember correctly, I think I tapped the Demegra on the leader swing.
Videl plus Demegra,
Yeah, you're still trying to combo up right now. I mean, you still have access to... Doesn't King Cole blow a field get 10 power
Yes. Jimmy's forgetting about it, but we've played this matchup enough times that
He's aware of the interaction there. Yeah, you cut out.
Yeah.
Again, so
yeah.
So here he goes in, overwhelms, does the combo, and you try to get the boost here. He's sitting at 30 right now, and you can only go to 30. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was that a one more card situation?
Exactly. I popped a new ruler to try and draw into more combo power, and unfortunately, I just hit another field. So
that's horrible.
that's the game.
Yeah, and Sword Dance got me the game there because of being able to warp Berry Blue out. You would have been able to survive, and I would have had nothing at that point. Like, I just had to pass and die.
Yeah. One of the cards I bottom decked off of my super combo was a 5-drop Frieza. So had I been able to hold on to that, I think I would have been able to clean out the game.
For sure.
But, I mean, his hand was getting thin. It's one of those things like you try and take a risk to get better stuff out of it. But with that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed that video. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below on the screen while Fluff does the outro.
Yep. Click on one of them. It might be something that you find interesting or maybe content you would enjoy. Give it a shot. Glad to see Jake enjoying King Cold. And God, that green-black Videl looks fucking crazy. Like, just the ability to pivot back and forth. Loving seeing it. But, as always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to. As always, Fluff out.